Have you ever stopped to think about how most of the internet is, well, free? How we get to search for anything, scroll endlessly, and connect with people all over the world without ever paying a dime? Yeah, it turns out there is a price. It's just not paid with money. It's paid with the details of your life. Today, we're diving into the hidden data economy, the marketplace where you are the product.
And our story, believe it or not, starts in a department store. Back in 2012, an absolutely furious father walked into a Target in Minneapolis. He had a handful of coupons that had been mailed to his house, and he wanted to know why on earth they were sending his teenage daughter ads for cribs and baby clothes.
The manager was baffled and apologized, but then, a few weeks later, he got a call back from that same father, who was now pretty embarrassed. He admitted there had been some activities in his house he wasn't aware of. It turns out Target's algorithm knew his daughter was pregnant before he did. It just analyzed her shopping habits and saw a pattern. And this wasn't some fluke. It was a tiny glimpse into a massive system that's always running just behind our screens.
It all starts with the simplest things we do online. Every single question you ask Google.
Every time you scroll through your feed, what you pause on, what you fly right by, and yup, every link you click, every video you watch, this entire digital footprint is being recorded, bundled up, and then sold.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work? Well, it's all built on a huge trade-off that pretty much powers the entire modern internet.
Think about it like this. We give them our data, our attention, our interests, our location, and in exchange, we get to use all these amazing platforms for free. On the surface, it seems like a pretty good deal, right? But this simple exchange is what fuels a multi-billion-dollar industry.
And that brings us to the single most important idea you need to understand about all of this. For any platform that relies on targeted ads, your attention is the real thing being sold. You're not the customer buying a product, you are the product.
So this massive, complicated machine didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Nope, it was built piece by piece, and it all started with a really simple idea.
It really kicked off in 1994 with the very first banner ad online. But the real game changer came in 1996, when a company called DoubleClick started using these little things called cookies to track people across different websites. Suddenly, advertisers could follow you around the internet.
The moment everyone really sat up and took notice, though, was in 2007. Google paid over $3 billion to buy DoubleClick. That sent a massive signal to the world. The future of the internet wasn't just about organizing information. It was about tracking the people looking at it.
And then, of course, social media exploded, and the amount of data being collected just went through the roof. Behind the scenes, this whole other industry of data brokers popped up to put all those puzzle pieces together.
These are companies you've probably never even heard of, and their whole business is creating incredibly detailed profiles on basically everyone. They mash up your online activity with public records, your credit card history, everything, to build this shockingly clear picture of you, from your income and relationships to your political views and health concerns.
For years, this whole data economy was humming along quietly in the background. But in 2018, one single scandal just blew the whole thing wide open and forced this massive global reckoning.
Yeah, that name. It basically became shorthand for the dark side of data. This political consulting firm had secretly harvested the personal data of millions of Facebook users, all without their permission.
And the scale was just insane, 87 million people. But they didn't just collect the data. They used it. They built these detailed psychological profiles to try and influence how people would vote in huge events, like the 2016 US presidential election and the Brexit vote.
The public backlash was immediate and fierce. Mark Zuckerberg got dragged in front of Congress, and Facebook got slapped with a historic $5 billion fine. Suddenly, this hidden data economy wasn't so hidden anymore. It was on the front page of every newspaper.
And governments finally started to step in. Europe led the way with its big privacy law, GDPR, and then California followed with the CCPA. For the first time, people were getting real rights to see and control their own data. The Wild West era of data collection was finally facing a real challenge.
So, where are we now? After all that, has the system really changed? Well, the numbers tell a pretty interesting story.
Just take a look at Meta, the company that owns Facebook and Instagram. Even after all the scandals, all the fines, more than 97% of its money still comes from advertising. The business model that's powered by your data, it's still very much alive and kicking.
But then, a huge change came from inside the tech world itself. In 2021, Apple rolled out its App Tracking Transparency feature. It's just a simple pop-up that asks if you want to let an app track you. And it turns out, when you give people a clear choice, most of them say, no thanks.
The fallout was huge and immediate. Meta itself said that one little pop-up from Apple would cost it around $10 billion in ad money in just 1 year. That proves that a tiny change in design, a simple choice, can have a massive impact on this entire economy. And really, that's what this all boils down to. It's the central question of our digital lives. Is your data just a resource for companies to mine and sell? Or is it a fundamental part of who you are, something that only you should control? That's the battle being fought right now, in courtrooms, in boardrooms, and on your phone every single day.
So the next time you click accept on one of those cookie pop-ups or sign up for a free service, just remember the deal you're making. You're not just getting something for nothing. You're taking part in a massive, invisible transaction. Because in this economy, every single click has a price.